What's up, NASCAR Authentics fans? David Land here, bringing you another NASCAR Authentics Diecast review. Today, we are taking a look at two brand new Chevrolet Camaros from Hendrick Motorsports from Wave 1 of the 2018 Lionel NASCAR Authentics. And of course, right off the bat, NASCAR Authentics has a new look for 2018. It's the biggest packaging change we have seen since Lionel took over the NASCAR Authentics line in late 2015. Gone is the old style packaging and the old style design of box, where you had this kind of NASCAR 15 looking steering wheel along with, it looks like Loudon, New Hampshire. Maybe, that's definitely Loudon. I almost said Dover, but the banking wasn't nearly high enough for that. But, you know, obviously you still have the car in the same place, and the boxes are more or less the same size. And just for comparison's sake, because we'll probably end up getting one before the year is out, this is what the NHRA diecast look like. And, of course, they have a Christmas tree there to kind of show that it's an NHRA diecast. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that later on down the line. But they've definitely cleaned up some of it. I'm not sure it's necessarily a better packaging design. I would still like to see the driver's face, or maybe a real-life, I guess they have a real-life picture of the car with the magnet. So yeah, I guess I'd like to see a driver's face, but I will say they improved the packaging in that it's much easier in the stores to be able to see which driver's car you're looking for, because of the fact that they have the number on the white background there. If you'll take a look here at the Kyle Larson car I have, you see a red tiny 42 on a gray background. Doesn't quite, you know, have the same pop in the store. So hopefully this will make it easier to find the cars you're looking for. But, you know, at the same time, there are a lot of blue cars in this wave of 8, so maybe you won't be able to find what you're looking for. I do like, however, that they continued with the primary color of the car as the primary color of the packaging for each individual car. Again, that's another thing that will just help you find the cars you're looking for in the store. So this is a wave of 8 cars, but I only decided to buy these cars and review them because honestly the rest of the wave is a lot of redos and rehashes, and frankly I'm more interested in new stuff at this point. But certainly the 2018 NASCAR Camaro is something brand new and interesting, and certainly the Hendrick new paint schemes are quite interesting. So we have Alex Bowman here and Chase Elliott, two of the very popular drivers that have stepped into some of the bigger roles in NASCAR. Of course, Elliott replacing Jeff Gordon, and Alex Bowman replacing Jeff Gordon and Dale Jr., because of course Jeff Gordon drove that car when Jr. was concussed. But these are some fairly interesting paint schemes, and well, let's not waste any more time. Let's take a look at these diecast up close and personal. First up, well, he was the Daytona 500 pole sitter, so it's only appropriate that we take a look at Alex Bowman first. So here's a look at Alex Bowman's number 88, the packaging. We'll take a close look at this packaging since it's the first of the 2018 cars we're taking a look at. They have changed the shape of the box slightly. It's a little bit less rounded. It's kind of got a, I guess you could say it's a bit of like a checkered flag if you look at it from this way. It's kind of following the design of the checkered flag on the box. So it's kind of got that waving flag design to it. There's the diecast, obviously, same as we've always seen it, and as well the magnet that we usually get with new cars or new paint schemes, which is kind of nice. Of course, Wave 1 still displayed on there, so I'm glad they kept that around. And of course, the new NASCAR Authentics logo. And it looks like they're keeping this font consistent. They've got the font for the NASCAR Authentics logo, the font there, and the font there, so that all looks quite nice. I think it's the non-italicized version of the new NASCAR design, but it's kind of hard to tell. It almost looks like they unitalicized it and bold-faced it, but that's typing things, and you don't want to hear that. And also, it advertises what your little trinket is, and of course, in this car, it's a free magnet. So here's a look at the rest of the wave, and I should address that, yes, there's another new Camaro in this wave. It's Ryan Newman's car, but frankly, it's so similar to last year's paint scheme, which I already have. I wasn't particularly interested in that car, and also pretty much everybody on YouTube has reviewed it at this point, but so it was a bit redundant to do. Obviously, the Worth car, that's pretty interesting. I don't think we've gotten that, at least for a while in NASCAR Authentics. We may have gotten it a while back. I can't remember. Kevin Harvick Mobile 1, that's fairly interesting, but again, it's just a Ford, so I wasn't particularly interested in Logano. And Hamlin, definitely Hamlin tempted me a little bit, but I figured, you know, there's enough Gold Series cars out there. We don't really need to do a review of that. The auto owner's insurance car for Truex is fairly interesting as well, but again, just didn't really interest me all this much. The car that really interests me was the SS, the final Chevy SS, or at least one of the final ones we'll see in the NASCAR Authentics line for Austin Dillon, which of course is the Coke 600 race winner. I thought that diecast would be pretty cool alongside my Sato from the Indy 500, because of course those cars both won on that day. But I'm not the biggest fan of Austin Dillon. No, it's not because of what happened at the Daytona 500. So I left it for somebody else who may be a bigger Dillon fan. I might pick it up later if I see it, but it wasn't a major priority. So that's just kind of a quick look at the Wave. Let me know down in the comments if I made a terrible mistake by not buying any of these, or if you're interested in any of these. And let's not waste any more time. Let's take a look at this diecast out of its box. So let's get to cracking the first NASCAR Authentics car of 2018. So there's your magnet. We'll take a closer look at that in just a second. And for the first time on this channel, the new look Chevy Camaro in NASCAR. Let's take a closer look at this bad boy. So the nationwide 88 Chevy Camaro ZL1 for Alex Bowman. This is definitely a nice paint scheme. I think a lot of people were kind of like poo-pooing it a bit when it was first revealed. I would definitely say it's probably the best of the new Hendrick paint schemes. Well, outside of the William Byron Exalta car, but that was pretty much the old Jeff Gordon paint scheme. Although I think the one he ran at Atlanta was also pretty good, but I'm not a fan of the college one. I can't remember what it is. William Smith University or William Byron. What the heck is the Lincoln Tech? I don't know. He goes. I don't know. We'll just call it Lincoln Tech. I don't remember what the college he goes to is, but it looks like we've got a bit of a possible defect there on the roof. We'll have to take a closer look at that here in a second. But I will say that Lionel did a pretty great job on the molding for this car, though I suspect there are already comments in the comments section about a certain error on this car, particularly at the rear window, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But real quick, let's take a look. If you would stop rolling. I get it, you're a fast car. You've been fast in the first few races of the season. Well, certainly at Daytona. He kind of was off the pace, at least in the last race at Las Vegas. But anyway, so you've got a car here, a render of the car, but it's on the 2015 Aero package. I almost said Aero kit. Aero package because it's got that huge spoiler in the back, which hopefully we'll never see again in NASCAR because that's too much downforce. But yeah, pretty nice. Not too much to say, honestly. Let's take a look at this molding because this is kind of the star of the show. Okay, so yeah, they definitely did a good job. I was a little bit worried because of the fact that this is an indented grille. It's kind of similar to the Toyota in that sense, that Lionel would have some trouble printing the grille on there, but it looks pretty much straight. In fact, it looks like they're starting to do a better job of printing these than they ever did of the Chevy SS. It always felt like the Chevy SS, even though it was a fairly flat front end, you always had like the grill piece like up here or down here or off to the side. This looks pretty dead on straight, so I'll have to give them some props on that. And it certainly looks the part. I mean, I think Chevrolet, in terms of design for this Camaro, did a fantastic job, and I think Lionel did a great job of capturing the look, although the wheels are kind of iffy. I noticed that in the packaging. They kind of droop down. Once you sit them down, they look fine, but they look a bit low-ridey when you're kind of holding it. Nice metal flake paint scheme here. I definitely think that of the two that I'm reviewing today, this is the more accurate one. But speaking of accuracy, yeah, they just decided, hey, since we can't do the monster window banner, we're not going to do a name window banner either. Very, very strange decision on that one. I don't know why they're just not doing the window banners anymore. It's kind of weird, but who knows? Maybe it costs too much money to print on the 164s now. I don't know. It's very strange. But yeah, this is a nice looking car. But yeah, here's the interesting defect, I guess you could call it. Not sure really what's going on there. It's like a big white. It's almost like a piece of paper, a piece of debris got stuck on there. I guess it's a race version. I don't know. And there's the tiny amount of contingencies that are left in the sport. Few on the front bumper as well, though. Yeah, I do like this paint scheme, though. It's definitely one of the better nationwide 88s that's been out, I would say, for a while. It definitely the scheme works with the body work that was provided by Chevrolet. It's actually funny, back in the early Gen 6 days, Chevrolet actually said, we can't do a Camaro. We have to do the SS. Yeah, they were total liars. They also said they couldn't do a Camaro for Xfinity, and then suddenly, a couple years after the implementation of the Gen 5 cars for Xfinity, suddenly the Camaro showed up after the Mustangs and whatnot were there from the beginning. Well, okay, let's take a look. We've taken a look at this car. Let's take a look at Chase Elliott's car, because I think that one's going to be a wee bit more popular and a wee bit more controversial. Controversy in a David Land NASCAR video. What is this? No, we're not. I'm not going to make any Casey Atwood jokes. This isn't a William Byron car. Calm down, calm down. But it seems like some people are torn on whether the color is particularly right on this car, and I would tend to agree with those people. You'll see in just a second as we take a look at the render on the magnet here, and also the car. It may not come through quite as well. I'll try to do it when we do a close-up. That the color, I'm just not sure is right. But then again, when I look at real life pictures of this car, the color looks different from the render. I'm honestly not sure what the right color is, so we'll try to get to the bottom of it before we get. And it almost looks like they got the color right. The color's different on this too. Color's different from the number to the render to the car. Good God, man. I don't know if you can blame Lionel for that one, but maybe you can. Let me know down in the comments who you blame for why there's like 3 different colors of Chase Elliott's car, because I am a very confused panda right now. But regardless, here's a Chevy Camaro, and let's take a closer look at it. So this car is a bit of an odd duck. When you touch it, it's got like a kind of sandpaper feeling to it. It's because it's got this sparkly metal flake paint, and it doesn't feel like they necessarily clear coated it all that well, so you can feel the metal flakes when you touch it. It's got definitely a texture to it. It's quite interesting, although again, I'm not particularly sure it's accurate. I almost feel like they're kind of going for like a metallic look, which I believe is actually the correct color for the car, kind of a metallic medium navy. I guess that's how I would describe the color on Chase Elliott's car. But most of the renders and the merchandise has all had kind of a brighter blue. I'll show it to you on the render for the magnet, as we're totally not in the frame there. Yeah, the colors just it looks like it's going to be one of those cars where it's going to take them a while to get the color right because it is a different paint scheme. It's certainly a different style of NAPA car. We haven't I don't know if is that the camera? Or that may be a bent chassis. I don't know. We'll have to take a closer look at that here in a second. But yeah, this is completely different than I saw a poster with all the NAPA race cars for 2017, and this is the only one with any kind of a predominant white color to it. Alexander Rossi, the World of Outlaws driver, who I can't remember his name. You also have Ron Capps and one of the K&N drivers. It's not Todd Gilliland anymore. It's another driver. But they all kind of have the traditional NAPA blue and yellow, and this is like completely off the rails. But look at here. You've kind of got a much more traditional NAPA blue on the render. So at some point they must have changed this, because that's just not even the same thing. And again, I think here's the other thing, is that between the real life car and this one, the render is actually less accurate. I will actually go out on a limb and say this diecast, the color is actually more accurate than I think people are giving it credit for. I think what a lot of people are getting turned off by is the metal flake paint, but again, I think that's because they're trying to go for a metallic look to it, which is actually the correct color. But it's not quite coming through. It looks better on the camera. It may look better in this video than it does in real life. The camera is actually brightening the colors up a little bit, which is actually helping to give it that look. I can tell you in person, it's definitely much, much closer to a deep navy than it is to kind of the NAPA blue. So it's fairly interesting. The white on there's metal flake in the white as well. So this diecast is just all metal flake. So I have not seen this car in person. Those of you who have, let me know. But how much of this car is metallic? I was under the impression the white on the car was not metallic. I have been able to tell, at least from the photos I've seen of this, that the blue is metallic. But Again, you'll have to let me know down in the comments. I'm not sure how I feel about the scheme, to be honest with you. It's one of those things where I just don't know. I don't know if I like it or not. I'm kind of a, like I said, I think I've said this in other Chase Elliott videos. I'm kind of a fan of just a regular yellow and blue NAPA scheme. Adding the white in there definitely gives it a unique look, but I don't know if it necessarily makes it better. And yeah, I definitely feel like this chassis is tweaked because I've been watching a lot of my friend Robbie's reviews of these as well, and it just seems like a lot of these Camaros, yeah, look at that. Yeah, I didn't even notice that, but look how low the roll cage is on that side versus this side. So yeah, it just seems like they're not quite fitting as well. Let's take a look at the, yeah, see, the Austin, or the Alex Bowman is pretty much perfect. This Chase Elliott has a little bit of a chassis problem. Interesting. Now, there is another interesting thing to note about this Chase Elliott car. It's packed 2 to a case. So if you see this in the store, there will be 2 of them per wave. So it should be easier to get than the Bowman, but you never know. Chase Elliott is a popular driver. So that was a look at a couple new Camaros for 2018. I definitely say the Bowman is a must-buy. I think they did a fantastic job on this diecast, and it really does look fantastic. I know mine had an error on it, but if you're careful when buying, and if you have a choice, it is packed 1 to a case, but if your store gets a few in, you should be able to make a good decision. The Chase Elliott, even though it had the tweaked chassis, certainly I think the Chase Elliott fans are going to want to buy it. Of course, you can't beat the NASCAR Authentics price versus the Gold Series. $3 is a lot. I think it's more close to $4 now because I think the kind of retail price of the Gold Series is about $9 now, $9 or $10 depending on where you buy, versus $5 at the retail stores. So again, it's a better deal. So if you want to get some of these basic schemes, I definitely suggest going the NASCAR Authentics route. So if you are after an Elliott, I would say go after the NASCAR Authentics version, even though you may have to really be careful about the chassis on these new Camaros because it seems like for whatever reason they're tweaked. I'm sure by the time we get to July or whatever, they will have fixed it, but it seems like some of these first cars haven't quite cut the mustard. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe for more motorsport content and NASCAR diecast reviews. We'll see you in the next video.